everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beard, DRF race of the day for Thursday, November the 14th. Race number 7 at Aqueduct, going 3/4 of a mile on the outer turf. Let's take a look at this overflow field of first level allowance horses. These are fillies and mares. 10 in the body of the race, 11 on down, entered as also eligibles. And I think it's a wide open race. And what really struck me, Mike, was that you've got a couple of horses in here turning back in distance. They look like strong contenders on paper. Cutbacks on turf, though, they're hard to play.
I agree with you. There's just a lot going on in here, Dan. You do have some talented horses turning back. We'll see how that works out. You got layoff horses in here. You have some more lightly raced guys with upside facing some real sort of hard-hitting established horses in this race. I mean, there's a lot going on in here. It's wide open. A lot of different horses can win.
Remember to access free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Take a peek and handicap along with us as we take a look at our Timeform US pace projector for the Thursday Race of the Day. It's a turf sprint. A little surprising that Timeform US believes this race might favor frontrunners. And I do agree with Timeform US that the 8 Striker Has Dial, even though she is cutting back in distance, might be the one to carve out the fractions.
Yeah, she might be. I mean, she's got plenty of speed, and she showed sprint speed on the main track when they switched her to turf last time. She landed in a pretty tough field. It was going a 2-turn mile. She didn't make the lead in there, but she was forward in a race that went to closers. I can see her being up there, Dan. I can see the 3 being up there. Not going to argue too hard with the pace projector. I didn't see a ton of blazers in this race.
Maybe the 5 Salib will try again. She was on the lead last time out when turning back in distance. Woodhoo, making her first start against winners, was a pace-pressing winner against slower-paced runners at Belmont at the Big A. Collaboration, the 4, is the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. She's one of the horses cutting back in distance. One of the layoff horses that Mike mentioned is the 1, Georgie's Spirit. This horse was stakes placed as a 2-year-old in 2022, but we haven't seen her in over a year, so who knows what we're going to get. She faced some decent competition the last time we saw her. That Love Cry came back to win a first level allowance with an 80 buyer. She's now a multiple stakes winner sprinting for Clement. Long layoff. I'll have to take a wait and see approach.
Yeah, I probably will too. She'll be a really nice price in here, Dan, if you think she's going to come back ready off the layoff. And I personally felt like she had a little bit of potential as a 2-year-old back at the end of 2022. You know, it didn't necessarily work out for her last year, but she did, run in some races. She faced some good fields along the way. Got wired first start back. She got wired second start back. She got wired third start back. Then only 1 start there at the end of the year last year where she was gaining ground at the end. I think she's okay. I just don't know if this is the right spot.
The number 2 is by any other name, going out for Bill Mott, Team Valor International. This one is an Australian bred, and she's only made 1 start in North America. That was going a mile off of a lengthy layoff. She ran okay, not great. She probably needed the race. Distance to me is a little bit of a question. Her only win at Australia did come going a mile, so she's going to have to cut back, and she must avoid being out-sprinted early.
Yeah, I'm worried about those things too. I also feel like she's a really dangerous horse in here. She was off of a really long layoff last time. Again, that was the race, 2-turn mile. A couple of really nice Chad Brown horses in there ran 1-2. And this horse didn't really do that much after coming wide. But I'm going to argue that she had a right to need that race for sure. They did start her out sprinting early. And then you just go through her. I mean, you go through her pedigree, her dam. She was more of a, sort of a miler type, but she did win a grade 3 down the hill when they got her over here. And, her best foal so far is Alexandra, who was a top turf sprinter, really, really good horse. I'm gonna assume that this horse is gonna be okay sprinting, and I'm using this horse.
Switching to Junior Alvarado, you certainly have to respect these connections through and through. The 3 is latest edition. This one was claimed for a dime last time out, sprinting on the dirt. Good effort to finish second that day. She's a New York bred that still has 1 state bred condition available to her. She's gonna have to face open horses here. I think perhaps the best thing she has going for her is she has a little bit of early speed in a race that doesn't have a lot of pace, but she's probably going to have to run a lifetime best.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it just kind of feels like she's in maybe a little too tough here. Her turf form actually, and her turf sprint form in particular, it's actually not that bad. I just feel like maybe this is a too tough a spot for her.
Another New York bred is the 4 Collaboration, and she's coming into this race in very good form for Linda Rice. Let's watch her most recent start. This is the Ticonderoga Stakes, going a mile and a 16th. She's the gray, and she's been chasing a solid pace throughout, and she's going to make this close at the wire, finishing second and just getting outfinished for the win. It was another good effort for this consistent daughter of English Channel. She has strong buyer speed figures, but I wonder if Linda's just trying to get another race into her before turf season ends. This will be her 15th lifetime start, and she's never sprinted in her career.
Yeah, that's the really big issue here, because her overall form is really good. She's a good horse. Her overall form is really good, and she's gotten back into good form in those last 2 starts. And those first 3 starts off the layoff this year, I'm not sure what was going on, but she could not get out of the gate in any of them. Had real off to terrible starts all 3 times. She cleaned that up. Her last 2 races are good. I have no idea if she can sprint, but if she can sprint, she's dangerous in here.
Solib is the number 5. Took a nice step forward last time out against fellow New York breds when cutting back in distance. She carved out the fractions that day. Had to go a pretty quick second quarter, 22 and change, while up top trying to break things open on the turn, and she ended up finishing 3rd behind a couple of these. It was nice to see the step forward. I do like the fact that she has a versatile running style. She can win from on the lead, she can win from off, and that should play well in a race like this.
I agree with all that. I mean, this is not an easy race for her, but she has a race or 2 in her that is going to give her a real chance against this field. And she's so versatile that you can just sort of project any kind of a trip for her, and it doesn't matter. That first turf start off the claim back in May, where they took her further back than even I expected her to be, she ran really well that day with a really nice finish down the outside.
After Wood Who was wired at Monmouth going 2 turns, 2 starts back, Todd Pletcher decided to cut the Speightstown filly back in distance to this 3/4 of a mile trip, and it worked out very well. Here she is on the outside in the Shadwell blue and white. She's been pressing the pace throughout, and she's going to grind it out to win and do something you don't see too often in New York. A Todd Pletcher horse pay $30.
Yeah, exactly. We've been talking about it since the start, Dan. You're always worried about these horses turning back on turf, and this filly was able to do it in here. A couple of route races, 3 route races, in fact, off the short layoff. They turned her back last time. She got the job done. Slight new buyer top. She's got to move forward again.
She's lightly raced, though, and has upside, as does her next-door neighbor in the starting gate, the number 7, Golden Rocket. Golden Rocket is a horse who beat 3 of these last time out on turf. That was 2 starts back in a second-level allowance race for New York breds. They tried her on dirt. I'm not interested in that Iroquois, but I thought the race 2 back, cutting back again from a route to a sprint, she was able to look pretty good. This pace was solid, Mike. I wouldn't say it was absolutely blazing, and I think it shows a lot for Golden Rocket that she's able to kick these horses down in the stretch, especially Solib and Marco T.
Yeah, she's a strong finisher, and she certainly proved that here, Dan. This is a really good performance. Another horse cutting back in distance to get the job done. They've sprinted her twice on turf this year, and she's run really, really well both times. The one in Saratoga off the layup there, that was a really fast pace that fell apart late that she was gaining into, but she still ran well there and ran even better in that one we just watched.
Just hoping for a little bit of pace this time around. But remember, after running in that stake last time out, she'll have access to Lasix once again. Striker Has Dial has the number 8, and Striker Has Dial was close to a pretty quick pace, I thought, in her turf debut last time out. That race was a mile. The trip was fine. I thought she found a nice pace-tracking pocket spot, but when you look at the top 3 finishers in that race, they were all coming from the back of the pack. So maybe the pace was a little too fast for Striker Has Dial, and she ended up finishing pretty well to be 4th. The runner-up came back, earned an 89 buyer, winning the Forever Together Stakes for Chad Brown.
Yeah, she was in a tough spot last time. There was 1-2 finishers, both trained by Chad Brown. They're both really good horses too. What I like most about her here, Dan, is I like her cutting back and distance here. I know we talk about horses turning back on turf, which isn't easy to do. I think it's actually going to help her because she's got speed. I think she wants to go a little bit shorter. She's got plenty of turf pedigree, so I don't mind them, keeping her on this surface for another start to see what happens.
Well, we've talked about several horses turning back in distance. The 9, Marco T, is a true turf sprinter. That's her game. Christophe Clemontes kept her at her game. She ran second in the Golden Rocket video we showed you. She was the beaten favorite that day. I thought she had a pretty good trip. She just didn't finish with the winner, but she's very, very consistent. I think there still might be a little bit of upside left. I'm not sure against a field as deep as this, though, I would want to take the 7-2.
I feel the same way about her. I mean, I think it's fair to wonder how much more improvement she has in her. She's very consistent. I just sort of feel like at this stage of the game, end of her 3-year-old year, she kind of just is what she is here. You kind of know what you're going to get, but she has tactical speed. She'll get a good trip. She'll have a look at this thing in the stretch. And then if she's good enough, then she's good enough. But I don't think I'd take the 7-2 either.
Elise's vision is the number 10, and she'll switch to Flavien Prat. She's multiple stakes placed in her career, once on dirt, once on turf, while never really threatening the winner in either one of those races. Turned back to a sprint last time out and just didn't break very well. And when you turn back to a sprint and you don't break very well, you're really behind the 8 ball. All in all, I thought she did well for 4th. I'm just not sure she's going to get the pace help she needs sprinting. I think she can get closer to the pace in longer distance races.
Yeah, we'll see. She does have that style when they sprint her where she's usually off the pace somewhere, but it's not like she's a total plotter. The break certainly cost her last time. I actually feel like after getting out of the gate a little slowly there, I thought she ran really, really well in there. And that was a really strong field as well. I actually feel like this could be class relief for this mare. And personally, Dan, just, from watching her entire career here in New York, I think she's a turf sprinter. I know they tried to stretch her out. She's okay going longer. I think she's better sprinting. And I just think if she runs as well as she did last time, or maybe even moves forward, she's a strong contender in here.
11 through 14 also eligibles, 15, 16 MTO. Of the also eligibles, I guess the 11 Reflexivity looks like a very strong contender. She has speed. So if she gets one scratch, she's in this race. That Timeform US pace projector will automatically update, and I'm pretty sure Reflexivity will be up top.
Yeah, she's definitely a dangerous horse if she gets in here, and I would certainly try to shuffle around my picks a little bit to get her in there.
Before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time Thursday race of the day, race number 7 at the Big A. Lisa's Vision didn't break very well last time out, came with a little bit of a kick. Outside here, maybe she breaks a little bit better and sort of finds a decent spot in stalking position, clear of traffic.
Just needs a little bit of a better trip, and we'll see if she can get that from post 10. But I think she's a real nice fit here, Dan. I think this is her kind of a race. I'm going to take her at a fair price. The other horse for me, and I almost put her on top, is that too by any other name, was Cutting Back from Mine.
I remember when Linda Rice was known as the queen of the turf sprinters in New York. She had a lot of them. Not so much recently. Her stock's gotten a lot better. We'll see if she can pull off some of the old magic with collaboration as she turns back from route to sprint. The horse is in very good form. Striker Has Dial to me is interesting. I think she might get a fairer pace setup this time. Thought that pace was fast last time. Even turning back, I think she could be in the thick of things when they field swings into the stretch. 10-2-1-7 for Mike, 4-8-7-6 for me. It's the DRF race of the day for Thursday. It's the 7th at Aqueduct. Good luck. Hey, let me give you a hot tip. If you liked the content that you've seen before, click on the like and subscribe button right here. And of course, for more DRF videos like Race of the Days, stakes previews, click on the videos right here.